It is not easy for a mother to share her secrets, but my heart is full and I must let my words flow. My name is Nomusa, and I come from the warm valleys of Zimbabwe, where the red earth meets the clear sky. I am a mother, but I am also a woman who has known love as fierce as the wild winds of the savannah. This is the love story between me and my son-in-law Daniel. Daniel is no ordinary man. He is the president of our beloved republic, a leader whose presence radiates strength and gentleness in equal measure. When he walks, his footsteps sound like drums at a village gathering, confident, commanding, always commanding attention. To the people of our country, he is a symbol of hope. For me, he is a flame that once ignited the forgotten corners of my heart. I remember the first day we met. He came to our family home to ask for my daughter Chaiza's hand in marriage. The afternoon sun was casting a golden glow over everything, and he stood at full height, and there was a respectful humility in his voice that touched me. As we talked, I saw that there was something more behind his formal demeanor. Beneath the title president, and behind those kind eyes, there was a tenderness that drew me in. I remember how his laughter filled the room, warm and sincere, and how his presence seemed to make everything around him come alive. The love that grew between us didn't spring up in an instant. It was born in the smallest little things. His eyes lingering on mine a little longer during family gatherings, his fingers touching my arm when no one else was looking. It was the warmth of his voice late at night when he called, needing someone to hear him outside of his office, outside of his responsibilities. He would tell me of his hardships, the sleepless nights, the weight of his people's struggles, and I would listen to him, offering him a refuge that was simply me. I became the person he could lean on, the one who saw him for who he really was, without the grandeur and expectations of his title. Chiza, my beautiful daughter, was often busy with her work as a doctor, and Daniel found himself in our home more often than anyone could imagine. He would sit with me on the veranda, and our conversations would be interspersed between laughter, tears, and sometimes silence. The air between us became thick with unspoken words and a longing that sprouted deeper than the roots of a baobab tree. We talked about many things: the beauty of our land, the hardships we faced, and the dreams that kept us going. In these moments, we found solace in each other's company, and the bond between us was undeniable. One fateful evening, as the world fell silent and the moon dipped lower, it happened. I found myself in his arms, the smell of the earth mingling with the quiet rustling of leaves. His lips met mine with a tenderness that spoke of longing and restraint, but also of a fire we could no longer deny. In that moment, I was no longer just Nomusa, a mother-in-law. I was a woman, alive and loved, feeling every beat of my heart like a drum calling us to dance under the stars. The night was filled with the sounds of nature, the distant calls of nocturnal creatures and the gentle rustling of the wind in the trees. It seemed like the whole world was witnessing our love, a love raw and pure. I know many will not understand and perhaps even call it wrong. But our love was as much a part of nature as the rains that nourish the fields and the rivers that wind their way through the earth. Yes, Daniel was my daughter's husband, but he was also a man who held a place in my soul. We loved in secret, our moments stolen beneath the acacia trees, our whispers hidden within the walls of the presidential residence. In these moments, his strength, his power disappeared, and all that was left was a man who needed me as much as I needed him. There were moments when we sat together in silence, just holding each other, the weight of our emotions too heavy for words. In those moments, we found a peace that neither of us had known before. There was passion in them, yes, but also something more. We talked about our dreams, how we both wanted a united Africa, how we longed for the day when our people could walk the streets freely without fear or hunger. He listened to my stories, the tales my grandmother told me, and in his eyes I saw a boy who had never heard the ancient wisdom of our ancestors. We shared not only our bodies, but also our history, our hopes for a bright and free future. I remember his eyes lighting up when I spoke of the past, of the strength and resilience of our people. He wanted to be a part of that legacy, to leave behind a world that would be a better place for those who would come after us. It wasn't forever. I knew it would never be. Daniel had a duty to his people and to my daughter. The day he finally kissed me goodbye, a tear rolled down his face, and I felt my heart simultaneously broken and healed. He had returned to his role as the leader of the nation, and I had returned to my role as a mother, mentor to my children. But those moments we shared, those stolen nights under the African sky, they live in me still. A secret flame that no storm can extinguish. I often think of those nights, of how his touch made me feel, of how our hearts beat in unison. It was a love that transcended the boundaries of good and evil, a love that belonged to us and only us. Some might say our love was forbidden, but I know it was real. It was as real as the soil beneath my feet, like the sun rising every day. It was a love that made me feel alive, a love that helped me understand the depths of my own heart. And though it has ended, I carry it with me as part of my story as I walk these lands that have known so many stories of love, passion, and loss. Sometimes I see him on TV or in the newspapers, his stoic and determined face, and I smile knowing that underneath that exterior is a man who once loved me with all his heart. This is my truth, told with all the emotion of a woman who has lived and loved. And in the spirit of Africa, I offer it to you to remember that love is not always easy, but it is always worth telling. Our story is just one of many. A story of a love that didn't live up to expectations. A story that reminded me of the beauty and pain that occurs when a person truly opens their heart. And now, as I sit here, with the sun setting over the valleys, I realize that I am blessed to have experienced such a deep love, a love that will forever be a part of me.